Welcome back to the WatchTower Film Podcast, the film review podcast on the Towercast Network. You're by cinephiles for cinephiles. Welcome back to War Month.
War
You
Month.
see us with dipped energy.
To all the veterans.
It's because we just screened the film we're about to talk about, man, and fucking A.
Yeah. Much respect
Let
to
me just give a note.
anybody's.
I'm not gonna say who from our office, but we had somebody from our not like the tower office, but like the building
Yeah.
outside, and he was talking with me and
Fellow
Jason.
cinephile.
Yeah, fellow cinephile, lover of cinema. But he was talking with Jason Carranza and I, and we were saying like, "Oh, I got to get upstairs because we're about to do our podcast." And he's like, "Well, what movie are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, we're gonna do the 1985 picture Come and See."
Yeah.
And he said to Jason, he was like, "Run as far away as you can."
Oh, now I understand. Okay.
Yeah, it was like just and so yeah.
You think maybe he was trying to tell the kid that?
I think he's telling everybody that because Come and See is such a
That's what you can't tell the kid.
oh my goodness. So yeah, we're talking about 1985's Come and See by
Elem Kilimov.
Elem Kilimov.
And it's funny, dude, because I just posted a picture
Oh,
of
wait.
just a screenshot,
Austin is going to pull up the pronunciation.
and I got like 10 comments
Elem Kilimov.
Klimov.
Klimov.
Elem Kilimov.
saying that it's a great film that
Yeah.
I will never watch again.
Oh, I'd probably watch it.
I got like 10 comments
few
just on that
times.
picture alone. They're like,
Few
yo,
more
that's
times.
a heavy.
Yeah, it's
Heavy
Oh my
war
goodness. So yeah,
film.
Helen Klimov's 1985 film. If you are an aspiring, I think foreign film lover or cinematographer especially, everybody tells you have to watch this film at least
Yeah.
once, and they're like, there is so much depth and weight
Yeah.
to it, and the first time you might not get everything, but the more you watch it, the more you realize like it has so much to say visually.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, oh, I gotta watch this film. And I remember watching the first half of it and I wasn't able to finish it. I think I just had something else that was going on that day.
You rented it? Someone lent it to you?
No. It's available for free on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
The quality is not as nice. Like we're able to get a nicer copy right now for our screening, but it's definitely something that when I watched, I was like, it needs to be explored and discussed. And when we were doing War Month, I was going to pick what is it called? All Quiet on the Western Front.
Mm-hmm.
But then
That would have been an interesting, but man.
that would have been nice. But I remember this one. And I was like, no, I need to have a platform that we can talk about it at least once. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, this
perfect
film.
film. Yeah, it's a-
This film comes in pretty high amongst cinephiles and filmmakers, as it all says, on the 2012 Sight and Sound poll. I don't know what the updated numbers are, but the last Sight and Sound poll was, I think, 101 for critics, 42 for directors. So pretty high up there for a Sight and Sound poll. So yeah, highly regarded amongst a lot of filmmakers, especially cinematographers, acclaimed amongst critics. And
104 for critics.
104 for critics, still at Sight and Sound.
41.
41. Okay, so it
Wow.
kind of stayed around the same.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before we continue, do you want to introduce who's in the room?
Sure.
Sorry.
Our followers know, but I guess we could tell them. Who's this guy?
Who's me? I'm your humble film servant, Carlos de la Torre, offering a writing directing perspective. To my left, Mr. Michael
genius.
Lalao, offering a cinematography perspective.
Howdy,
genius.
howdy.
To my right, Mr. John Eric Castro, offering an acting perspective.
A genius in development.
Absolutely.
Almost had a epiphany, didn't you?
I did.
And last but not least, Mr. Austin T. Young. Make sure we're sounding good on the ones
Who
and twos.
doesn't
Fellow
love that
producer and
guy?
editor.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Make sure to like and
Please
subscribe,
like and
or the Nazis will come and get you.
Hey, that is not the best way to open it,
But
but,
it doesn't take much.
right.
Just click, click.
Yeah, we appreciate it. This is Mr. Michael Lalao's pick.
And I'm glad you picked this one, man. This one was heavy. Did not expect this.
Yeah, still processing for sure.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's one of those that after the
this
credits
was
roll.
a Tarkovsky meets
Experimental.
Kurosawa meets Federico Fellini.
Yeah.
Meets Vittorio De Sica. Like,
And then also, I mean, I could see a little bit of Fury.
Yeah.
You know, with Brad Pitt and Shia
Yeah.
LaBeouf.
It's this film is, as my my grandmother used to describe when she watched a really good film, a punch in the dick. Like it's a. I'm kidding, Graham. You probably never said that in your life, but no, it's such a like the title itself, like come and see. It's already kind of like asking you like face this this topic. We're not going to let you shy away from it. We're not going to let you hide behind anything. It's just this perpetual, like, you have to see everything that's going on.
And while
You
you're
have
on
to
it,
come and see. Yeah.
the title comes from a Bible verse. It comes from the book of Revelations, which is the last book of the Bible. And if you just
only
to give
real
a
one.
brief background, if you don't know, which most of you probably do, the book of Revelation is really an exploration on what happens after the apocalypse. And I have it here too, Austin.
It's not the rapture.
Yeah, but that's part of the deal. The
Right,
rapture is
right.
basically what kicks off,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
apocalypse. So, and what happens and how the earth is scoured by demons and death and fire and chaos, and that's what the entire book is about, and how God plays the part of the Savior in that equation if you're willing to do what He wants. And the Bible verse comes, it's chapter 6, the book of Revelations, verse basically 1 through 7. And it says, "And when he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, 'Come and see.' And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth." So that's where that title comes from.
Wow.
Which is very, very, very apt for this film. Gosh, what a picture.
I know.
This one?
No, I meant
Come
the
and see.
film.
Oh, the film. Yeah, this one, the poster. I don't know why they went a little too.
It's pretty interesting. I think it's this.
Too.
It's your
it's
color
very-
themes back here, by the way.
Yeah, it's
but it
it's-
hasn't. It doesn't fit the theme.
No, to put the Criterion on that one, the first
There
one, the
we go.
Criterion poster is fucking awesome, and that one, that's the Criterion one. That one's so cool. I love that
The other
one.
one looks futuristic or something.
No, I think it's
Just
just
shows you how much he's aged
yeah.
in this short amount of time.
The
We're
second
just
one's like
witnessing
a lot
more.
of dichotomy, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
There's a dichotomy in the two mentalities. And
Trichotomy.
there's a lot to explore.
what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like, there's a lot to explore. It's two sides against each other, right? Like, that's every war film that we're talking about.
There's the blue, there's the red. I mean, we just went through an election, man. That doesn't tell
I
you
get
what that
that.
is. And then
Yeah.
you have the yellow on top, which is like, you have the pink on his face, maybe showing his humanity. You have yellow on top to show enlightenment. Is there real enlightenment? I mean, this is cool, man. I like this.
Yeah.
You like
I think
this, Austin?
I think it says a lot, you know?
I don't
But,
know. I don't see the film. We just watching that.
Yeah, that one's a very, like, much like the film, a lot to interpretation. Because look how one side's red and the other side's purple. It's a mix of the two colors. Like, it's a very, very dynamic photo.
Red in his eyes.
Yeah, but I think it's, oh my goodness.
It is a little. It was a little neon.
Yeah, that's what I'm
but-
saying.
But it's still
yeah,
fucking.
I thought that this would be a good installment into War Month. Also,
Second
for-
anti-war film.
yeah, and for a limited time, you can see my legs.
Very, very
Don't
true.
know what that adds.
They're
Very
real.
true.
They're real.
We figured it out.
But on shorts, I never wore shorts, and
We
We're
know
just
why.
gonna roll with it.
gonna roll with it.
Why
No.
this? Why this, though?
I think okay. I think that a good film should spark conversation. This obviously had a lot to say, and there's so much conversation that could be had from it. But as a war film, I think the best thing that cinema does is that it allows you to experience something that you wouldn't have been able to experience otherwise. This film is taking us back in time. It's taking us to a different place, a different era. And
what year was this? What year?
World War II. This is 1939, 1945.
I saw 39. I thought
39 to 45. This is World War II.
yeah, so this is in the midst of World War II. This is, Yeah, this is in the midst of it all. This is Russia, who was very much fighting the fight against Germany. And
if you don't know, for the Second World War, Russia was the country who had the most casualties as a whole for the war. And despite the fact that they lost the most soldiers, the whole point of this film is that it's rooted in reality. It's realism mixed with hyperrealism and surrealism, and it's rooted in reality because the facts are that there was actually 628 villages that were burned to the ground
with all the occupants.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna get this name wrong. Belarus. Belarus.
Yeah.
And 628 villages. Listen to what I'm saying. 628 citizens or groups of citizens.
Yeah.
So groups of 628 groups of citizens, not soldiers.
Also,
fucking people and kids and women.
Also,
and
when it shows you in the film,
yeah.
Not only were they groups, but when they described like their last name, it was like where they came from.
Yeah.
So it was like everybody in a family with that same last name, and it's crazy because that means that at least at minimum, what is it, the 680 or 628
villages,
families were completely destroyed. You know, those families have no more lifelines, no more ways to kind of like reproduce. And they have a big talk on that later on.
So Russia had 13,950,000 deaths, and the military deaths were only 6 million. Civilian were 4 million. Civilian deaths via famine or disease, another 3 million.
See, this is what the film does great, dude.
Yeah.
There's a difference between saying the numbers and showing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this film did great.
Oh,
One of the
yeah.
big things
You
we
can
have to
say the
talk about
statistics.
is...
Oh, my God.
It's the cinematography, right? I mean, thrusting us in with a steady cam for most of the picture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
What
and
a way
I mean,
to do it, you know?
You know, and again, having this boy and watching his development, he doesn't say a whole lot throughout the film, but seeing his face and seeing like the things he's thrown into, and constantly when he's in places of control, he's just trying to do the right thing and he's just trying to help people. Like it's crazy.
It's either that or just, what is it, like survival motor kicks in, like I get up.
But like
We talked about that in the last podcast. We talked about For King and Country, right? And he was this wide-eyed,
That's why I
bright
love the story.
kid who wants to serve his country, despite his mom's wishes, despite leaving his family. And he's very happy to leave and do what he's got to do. Very young, and he's willing to do it. And it just comes to show you literally the waves that you'll go through in war and how much this kid goes through. And I almost feel like and this boy, his name is some
Flior.
Flior, yeah, that's how I got it.
Flior. And he's Fliora. Brilliantly played by Alesky Kravchenko, and who went on to become a great actor. He kept at it.
But he stayed over there or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stayed
Russian actor, and just went on to do other great things, but mostly he's known for Come and See. Yeah,
Still
he's still
acting.
acting.
Nice.
And
Wow.
That's because he was young as hell too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But I think this is the war equivalent of Dante's Inferno. And this boy is Dante, is
going through the seven
circles of hell, and we're going with him. We're gonna see and smell and taste everything he's going through, and I think that's who he is. For me, that's what this picture was. Is I'm going to come and see. I'm going to take you through this. I'm not gonna show you. It would have easily been done as a documentary with all the archival footage that was shown at the end of the picture, but no, we're gonna recreate this world in the way only cinema can, narrative cinema, and show you in a nutshell, in a vacuum. Because I just said 628 villages. We only really see one or two burned down. In this
We only
film.
see two, really.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see his home village, and then we see that he's there's survivors.
Yeah.
And he tries to go and get supplies for the survivors and gets caught up in another village because German forces are coming and occupying it. And oh my God.
The original title of this film was Kill Hitler. That was the name of the film. And it was just deemed inappropriate at the time. So that's why they changed it. But
Seems
this
perfect
was
now.
very much an emotional, this was a feeling. This was a,
Yeah.
the
That's why I love the
conversation.
ending.
There's a conversation, right? The conversation
Or the
is,
ending before the ending.
well, what if you could go back in time, would you kill a baby Hitler?
Oh, I was just thinking about that too. Was that the photo of him?
Yeah,
That is-
it's a baby Hitler.
That's what it was going
okay,
back
baby Hitler. I
to.
thought it was of him.
No,
As a
and
baby Hitler, the first thing that came through my mind is like, we've all asked that question, right? Would you go back and kill a baby, even if it's ill?
That's why I say that new updated poster is so interesting
Yeah.
because it's showing that dichotomy that, as bad as they were, it was so difficult. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, with the mom, right? Because they tilt
the
from
mom.
the mom to him.
It was so difficult
And because I thought that was so fascinating. Should I kill this bitch?
And-
No,
yeah.
that's not her fault. Let me.
But
kill
then he
this-
sees the at the end
I mean,
the
this is
poster
her
in the floor.
Yeah.
No, and I mean it's interesting because as he's shooting, it's taking the war in these sections, but it's going back in time, and every time he's shooting,
Reversing all of the horrible things.
yeah,
that
but
he
it's
did.
those different moments in time that he would kill him, and the different moments in time that he was doing something wrong, up until the point where it's like Annie the baby. Do you kill the baby knowing what it's going to do?
Yeah.
And also thinking about like what just happened. They wanted to burn down this what is it called? They wanted to burn down this building, but say leave all the children because they felt, from the children that's where it sparks
this bad
the-
race.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
bad
race.
race.
They're just
So
gonna
by
keep-
you
Oh my
killing
God.
baby Hitler, you're doing what he's
You're doing what he's doing, yeah, you're doing
That's
it.
why
It's-
it's this challenge of like, are you going to fight fire with fire? Which you see,
Whoa, hold on. Run that back again. What?
yeah, like
To an
the-
extent.
Yeah.
To an
Okay.
extent.
Yeah.
No.
I'm taking it with that.
But there's like what I love is the way the ending happens that they just burned down this whole village. Everybody lost somebody and they lost families, multiple families. Hundreds of people were in there, the way that they describe it in the film. And then you see it all get burnt down and the German forces are cheering and they're just having a jolly old time. And then later on, they douse the Germans that they did capture that are alive in gasoline.
And the Russian sympathizers, basically the ones who helped them.
And they're ready to burn them too. But then at the very end, instead of burning them, like they shoot them because they obviously are these war criminals. But burning them would have just been playing their game,
I thought that too. When he didn't burn them, when he just
And I think that's kind of the message. It was this weird. Are we going to let ourselves stoop to that level, or are we going to fight the fight and beat them, but be on the side of good? Like, are we going to let hate get to the point where we would do the exact same thing, And
I don't think I'm still mature enough to think that way.
yeah,
It poses interesting questions. I mean, it poses interesting questions, but at the same time, I think it's this
Eye for an
fantasy,
eye.
right?
Eye for an eye. I'm eye for an eye.
But the film,
get it.
explores it from that point forward, from him seeing the Hitler poster in the water. It's a fantasy. The film becomes a fantasy from that point forward, right? Part of that fantasy is him reminiscing and saying, if I would just kill him, I could have taken back all this pain, all
love
this
it, dude. I don't know
destruction,
why.
and that's why all of the film is in reverse. And then it dives into the wood scene, which in and of itself is a fantasy.
That's why I like
and
the
playing Mozart,
the
in
end
the
of the
woods, and what I call the Deus ex machina, but we're at the end of the film there,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
maybe,
I know,
maybe we'll back up a touch.
yeah.
But ratings, I suppose.
yeah.
Which
We'll
way?
go. We'll go clockwise.
And we
So-
all saw it for the
or-
first time. I think.
No,
that's-
I want you to go first. So
you always make me go first.
no, I don't always make you go first.
Yeah.
It's time to go this way.
Go on.
I want you to go first.
Okay. Clockwise. It's counterclockwise, jackass.
Wow.
This is up there for me, man. This is everything I think cinema needs to be.
Can be.
Can be, should be. for 1985, man, especially, geez. I'm pretty high up there. I'm probably like at a 9.7.
Really?
I'm probably at about a 9.7. This thing is so intricate and ballsy, and it takes risks that.
That's the
I mean,
main
look,
one.
man. What's fascinating about this too is Elem Kilimov. What do we say?
Yeah.
Kilimov. You don't know his name. Nobody knows his name. He wasn't one of the greats, quote unquote. He is amongst filmmakers and cinephiles, but he's not a household name. And this was his last film ever. And he stopped making films in 1985 because he's like, I explored everything I wanted to explore in cinema. He died, I think, in 2001 or something like that. 2003.
There was nothing else he
And
felt
he's
like
like,
he
there's
wanted to
nothing
say.
else I want to explore in this medium because I explored everything. Imagine ending on that fucking
Yeah,
note.
that's what I'm saying.
You know? And it's so fascinating, man, because it's something that every filmmaker yearns to work for, you know. Hopefully at the end of your career, you make a
It's
masterpiece
like Michael
this.
Jordan's Chicago Bulls last
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
You want to finish it like that.
And more than it being a masterpiece, it's this commentary that's going to live forever, a point of discussion.
Right.
And it's fascinating to me that he, again, if this would have been your typical war film, whether it would have been a typical anti-war film, I wouldn't have loved it as much if he didn't take as many risks. The level of surrealism and hyper-realism that he uses in this film, he didn't need to do it. I think the film would have been satisfied with the realism and some of the surrealism, but the hyper-realism
What's
that
the
is used-
hyper-realism?
The hyper-realism is everything that you see. For instance, the girl that he meets, you know, on the battlegrounds.
What is that? You think?
It's not real, for one.
How do you know?
It isn't. Well, okay, you're right. In my opinion, it isn't.
Exactly.
In my opinion,
I'm starting to understand what you're saying now. Yeah.
in my opinion, she represents the endearing lifestyle that he could have had. He met this girl. They talk about a fantasy of let's just fuck this. Let's run off. You'll meet my family. We'll have a family and love and marriage. And then when he sees her again, she's raped, blood down her legs, by war, nonetheless, by soldiers.
Yeah, very much like him, innocence taken away from her eyes.
Like I did it. I can't get this. This is what I can't get. This
That's
is
what I
no
found so
longer-
beautiful. So what are you saying that it could have done without that?
No, I'm
Or
saying that
less
it
of
would have
that.
satisfied. The film would have satisfied as a typical war or anti-war picture. It would have satisfied with any of those risks. It would have satisfied.
Okay.
It would have done fine. But the fact that he went the extra mile to use hyperrealism that way in multiple aspects, like the two scenes that blow my mind, the two aspects of this one that blow my mind is that the girl,
Yeah.
and the scene where he's getting his hair shaved by his village, by well, the way I took that is like by society, how society interprets war, how society interprets conflict. What's the result of society interpreting conflict? War, right? That's the result. So the representation of them in the forest, shaving his hair and telling him this and telling him that, to me, that's a representation of society. And in this case, it's people who know him. It's his village. That to me is just simplifying. Like, look, you're doing the right thing. You're going out there. Let me help you. I'm going to prepare you for the war. And even the burnt body on the ground that said, the one burnt body that talks to him and says, I told you to not dig. That's how the film opens.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I didn't get that part. I didn't get the
film
whole gun thing.
opens by digging this curious kid that falls in
Right.
love with warfare because of these artifacts on the beaches and the plane. The plane was just like this great 8.5 moment for me. And seeing this almost like the plane that never touches the ground, the plane that hovers and sees to
It's
me
always
that's like
there.
the officials. Right, the officials, the presidents, the politics that
that's
just
nice.
you don't touch war ground. You just see what's going on.
you just-
You claim that you're in the war zone because you're up in the air, but nobody's touching you. Constantly present, but again, this body on the ground is telling him, I told you to stop digging. I told you to stop digging. If you wouldn't have gotten this curiosity, you wouldn't be bent out of hell to go and serve your country, and you wouldn't be thrown into this world.
My bad for. Can you explain that? I didn't get that whole. I didn't want to because at the beginning they found the gun. Mm-hmm. What symbol was that?
It's a curious kid. The curious kid who discovers warfare.
And then
Think of it,
and then the other party got mad that he found it, or what do you mean?
No. I feel like
it was just a symbol.
Take it this way. I think in a very grounded way.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, my bad.
Yeah, no, I at least the way I take
It
it.
intrigued the kid enough.
In a
to,
very grounded way, he just looks at like war kind of almost like toys, right? Because he's next to his sister, and the sister plays with these toys and pretends in this lifestyle. And with him finding a gun and finding this helmet is pretending. Yeah. Even like his friend at the beginning pretends to be the old man. It's pretending to be a tough soldier who goes and fights for his country and makes things better. And then what happens is that by him wanting to, I guess, kind of like play in this world, he has to experience all the hellscape that is war.
I think the film uses numbers really well. For instance, pairs, right? Yeah. We open the film with a pair, a friend of his, somebody who shares the same sentiments, the same excitement. Yeah. And then by the time we get to the cow scene, he's with one other person who he's getting along with, who they just went through this journey of stealing a fucking cow, and he's gone. And it happens that fast. And again, I think that's part of when that innocence just really, really goes away. I think the other fascinating kind of aspect of numbers is most war films will give you this sense of camaraderie, right? Power in numbers. And it starts that way. He's going to be part of this team, part of this gang. And then the rest of the picture, he's pretty much by himself.
Exactly.
And it's sad because the only other time that he's grouped up with numbers to feel safe, like when he's brought into that family, like, oh, I'm going to bring you with my family and we're all here. By him being in the group,
away in an instant.
No. By him being in that group, that's what was going to put him in more danger. Yeah.
But also gets taken away. Maybe if he leaned into it, like, oh, okay, I can breathe now, and I'll take a new name and a new identity, and I'll fucking do it. And 5 minutes later, he gets burned to the ground. Yeah. And again, we revisit the power in numbers thing at the very end of the film, where he goes and gets lost in the crowd. A very Vittorio De Sica thing, bicycle thieves thing to do.
That's the Office Ghost, right?
Yeah, it is. The Bicycle Thieves is the first picture to be credited to kick off the Italian neorealism movement, and it's a very sad picture, but it ends with this kind of getting lost in the crowd sentiment, and that's exactly what happens to him. He gets to be a part of a family again, but he'll never be remembered. He's just one of the numbers. He gets lost in the crowd. For those reasons and more, 9.7 for me.
Okay. I think it's a very just and deserving 9.7. Castro, after taking it all in, smelling the mud.
Man.
Napalm in the evening.
I love the smell. I'll probably give it a 9.4. I probably won't go higher, man, because I told you, like, it's one of those films that I'll probably just watch once. It was a little too heavy for me. But that's what I liked about it, right? It's raw. It's right in your face. It's come and see it for your own. Like, if you've never been to war, this is a perfect, a perfect visualization of what it is. I thought the story of this kid, man, sad as hell. Doesn't say much. It's basically the whole film. You just gotta watch his emotions, man. He goes from this kid, like you just said, from a vulnerable, wide-eyed kid to seeing the horrors of hell, right? Of the war. Yeah. And man, there's just so many scenes that, oh my God, are gonna stick with me.
Break your fucking heart, right? I mean,
like when they get the girl and then they're putting her up in the
truck,
in the back of the truck, and everybody's just trying to get up there. Yeah. It's just so intense. One thing in this film does really good is, I wouldn't say is linger a bad word?
No.
It lingers a lot.
In the uncomfortable moments. Yeah.
It does really good in lingering, like when they're pushing everybody inside the building.
Oh yeah.
It lingers really well because it's like a bunch of people like, oh damn, how many people are going? But it's like 2-3 minutes, and then the score, the sounds start going, and then that's why I kind of like freaked out. I was so into the scene. I was like, are they gonna burn the building? Like that's a really good filmmaker, right? It's
You're asking the question. You're sympathizing with these people. You're like,
and I truly didn't know, right?
Can we
Most
stop
of the
this?
films
Is
are like,
this gonna stop?
okay, you know, that's gonna happen. And this, I was like, no way. Like, I know it's a film, but great filmmaker. I could see why he stopped at the top. I mean, this was great way to show people. I don't think you can show this nowadays, right? It's too graphic.
To that point, can you scroll up really quick, Austin? The director co-wrote this with a guy named Alice Adamovich. Alice Adamovich. He fought in this war.
Okay, that makes so much sense.
And basically, you know, this film was really based on his kind of encountering his memories of it, as well as archival footage from books and films, old films that they saw.
By the way, when they do that like montage at the end, and you see the archival footage for a brief second,
you see it for 10 seconds. You know
how close it was to the way the film depicts it. Like
it's not even that much of a shock anymore because you just saw this whole thing.
It looks like a recap of moments from the film when you're like looking at it and it's like, oh no.
You know what?
That was real.
The only time I've seen something like that on that book, Night. I don't know if you guys have read that book.
No,
Night. It's about this guy that survived in one of the concentration camps. Yeah. And at the end of the book, they show the people in the bunkers, in the beds, and they're all skinny as hell.
Yeah. I've seen those. Yeah.
I've only seen a picture. Right. This was like
concentration camp pictures are very reminiscent of that. Absolutely, I agree. I bring up the co-writer because, you know, director was basically like, look, man, I'm gonna make this shit, and nobody's gonna want to see it, and we all got to be okay with that. Nobody's gonna see this shit, and he's like, good. The writer was like, I didn't want to see it either. I didn't want to see it in person either.
That is so weird.
And that's the point. You know, show them, and whoever doesn't want to see it, don't see it.
Such a dilemma, yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't, as soldiers, as a kid, you know, if you're going through this guy's mentality, the kid doesn't want to see that. He doesn't want any part of this after the first 10 minutes of warfare.
Yeah.
You know, and why shouldn't we feel that way as an audience? Like, hey, no, can I stop here? No, motherfucker, that's not how war works. You got to go through this whole journey, and maybe not even make it out. You know,
even to your point of like lingering, and I'll let you continue. No, to your point of lingering, I think that's what I love about this film so much is the fact that they have such control. Like, I mean, a confidence as a director to be able to say, I'm going to let this scene sit for a while because I know how the audience already feels at this point, and I know that this is going to make them feel even worse. And I'm
genius.
I'm gonna like almost like holding your hand near like a hot knife and then saying like, I'm not going to plunge it in, but I'm going to get real close so you understand that tension. And
beautiful analogy.
Like, I just feel that they knew how to leave you there long enough before your brain shuts down. I think like everybody goes through overload, right? I mean, in any emotion, you could be sad, but there's like a period in time, or happy, but there's a period in time where like you'll hit a maximum. And after that, you could keep throwing whatever is stimulating that emotion, but you won't feel it anymore. You won't feel you won't feel any more than the maximum. You'll hit a plateau.
Yeah.
Well, with this one, I feel like they just really knew how to make these moments where, like, sure, we're going to give you peace. It's not really peace. You're not going to feel safe, but he's walking in a void, and you know something bad is around the corner. But because he's there, naturally, you're going to come to a kind of numb state of just watching him walk and all that. That when we get you to the next part, it's going to really bring up your anxiety and bring up your rage and bring up everything. And then when they're leaving these burning buildings, you're already starting to hit your maximum, but it brings you down again just to hit you to another one. Like, I felt like it was so well executed in controlling your own tensions as you watch it. I mean,
I agree.
Like I said, it's one of those films where as you're watching it, you just kind of can't turn away for a while. You're just so
it's like a car wreck, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't look away from it.
There's this one scene that I want to talk. I don't know, right now or after.
Yeah,
9.4, right?
9 point. Yeah, I'll put it up to 9.4.
Do you want to talk about the scene real quick and then we'll like finish off?
Man, I don't know what to think about the scene. Are they in shock? Are they in
Tuesday.
the guy and the girl when they're just
Floored
laughing?
Yeah.
Oh,
Are
at the
they-
very beginning?
What? It's not shock. It's
No, they're crying. They're crying.
Catatonic.
Catatonic?
Catatonic?
Would it be that?
Catastrophic?
No.
No. No, I know what you're saying. Catatonic.
I don't know. How did you guys take that scene?
I mean,
They just lost it?
No, if
Or
you're
they're
if you're
just-
going off of Carlos's interpretation, and she's not really there, he's feeling this sense of pity that he, like a kid, like when you again, he's a child. When they want something and they don't get it, they cry and they kind of like get sad about it. And what he thinks that he wants is to go out and grab a gun and be a hero. Even like when the main army dude walks up to him and says, "Hey, why didn't you shoot me? Like, I didn't give you the password." He says, "Next time if somebody walks up and they don't say the password, you shoot them." And he's like, "Because of that, I'm going to give you like a double duty." And instead of being like, "Oh, damn it, I got to work more," he's like, "Thank you," because
He's wide-eyed. He's excited. He'll
he's
do
excited
what
to
is-
feel like, "Oh, you're going to make me work more as a soldier? I'll be more of a soldier." So when, he leaves the camp and he doesn't know where to go, and all the other like people left, it's kind of like the sense of like, oh man, like I wanted to be a soldier, but I don't get the chance now. And it's not till bombs start dropping and people start getting shot and he starts having to run away that's when he's starting to realize what all this is. And I think at that first part when they're like crying and laughing, it's because it's a little kid that you're just taking
I'm
away.
talking about when they're in the woods and like
Shaking the trees and all that?
when they're almost in this.
I think it's like an adrenaline thing, no?
Well, I think it's.
I don't think so.
I think my interpretation is not. It's not very
Cool.
It's kind of lackluster, but it's how I interpret it. Because I interpret it like she's not really there. I think the embodiment of her is somebody who we just saw on the campgrounds helping the military, like just some worker. It's like if I go to Vietnam and I see some Vietnamese lady at one of the shops, and for some reason her face impacts me so much, whether I'm attracted to her or just something, her face stays with me.
I get it,
That when I'm going to use a coping mechanism for what I'm going through, I'm gonna put her face to the thing. So I genuinely think in this very moment it's just his boredom. Because he's left to camp. He's not doing anything. He's left to cover the camp while the real soldiers are off doing a job. So he's coping with his boredom by walking around the jungle, forest.
Forest, yeah.
Walking around the forest to cope with his bored. He's just bored. But when he encounters her and they have that first kind of cry and laughter, it's his mind eating away at him. Like, what is this? What are you doing here? I'm just sitting around. Is this war? Is this wartime? And I also think it's a play on it's like his other side. It's a play on his insecurities because she tells him like, "Oh, poor baby soldier, they left you behind. You're not a real soldier. You're this, you're that." And to a boy, what's the worst thing somebody can call you? A girl. It's the worst thing somebody can call you is a girl. You're a girl, right?
True, when you're a kid.
So that's his insecurities being embodied is like, you're not a real soldier. And what blew my mind a little bit about that too is she says, you're deaf. You have no limbs. You have no legs. It's everything that could possibly go wrong by being here. And you want to be a part of this. And it's like, to me, it felt like a mom yelling at some soldier in a coma in a hospital bed. Like, can you hear me? I'm trying to tell you, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here. And it's every emotion that if you sit long enough by yourself in a strange place, your mind starts to eat at you. And again, part of that coping is like, well, I'm bored. There's nothing to do. There's no danger. I'm gonna walk around. And again, using all his neurons to fire in every direction. Of, I'm going to mess with this tree and I'm going to build a shelter. Oh, there's this girl who I think is very pretty and I could see a future with her. I'm going to build her a shelter and I'm going to clothe her and I'm going to get her away. I'm going to get her safe. And again, I think
because even in a very childish way, he talks later on during that same scene. He's like, "Oh, I know what I'll do now. My mom will be so proud when she sees that I found a place for us to hide.
Yeah.
And it's this little twig
Like
shelter.
my mom will know. Yeah. Like
It's a little twig
Damn,
shelter.
man.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But he's like all proud, like, oh, I found a good hiding
Yeah.
spot.
I'm a
And-
man. I
yeah.
can protect you.
Yeah, yeah.
I can protect myself.
Okay, I was just kind of like, man,
It is.
was
It's, I think it's just his imagination running wild to
Yeah.
cope with the war.
Coping, that was
To
the-
cope with his boredom.
yeah,
And cope with his loneliness.
And cope with his loneliness and cope with the war, especially
war.
after the bombs.
Exact-
drop.
that's what- yeah.
And I love that the law earlier brought up Jojo Rabbit because aside from Hitler being the imaginary friend, the girl in Jojo Rabbit, the little girl,
Yeah.
who they're hiding. At the end of the film, the war's over and they dance, and that's what this is, right? It's this. So what do we do now? Should we dance? Like, there's nothing to.
Like, we kind of survived.
We kind of.
yeah. Okay, see there. Okay, I wasn't too far off.
And when he brought up Jojo Rabbit, that's immediately what I thought. I was like, man, yeah, this girl is. What do we do now? Like, how do we cope with this one? And again, everything he doesn't want to accept, she's throwing in his face. When he goes and the house is empty and it's full of flies and his sister's toys are on the ground, he's like, oh, they're on the other side. They're on the island. We just gotta go through the money. She's like, dude, they're fucking dead. You're crazy.
No, and even like that shot of like her turning around.
Her
And you want
turning
to
around.
even again explore. I really like this theory or idea or interpretation. But when she turns around and sees a bunch of bodies piled right behind the village,
Yeah.
he could have easily gone and turned
Yeah.
and seen right behind and
But
all
it's
that.
what he doesn't want to see.
Yeah, so he just says, "Oh no, they're somewhere else. Let's run really fast over here."
Yeah. Away
Because-
from the reality. Let's go find another reason of another place where my mom and my sisters are. We don't have to turn around. We don't have to face the reality right now. Again, I think she's his psyche. She's a representation of his psyche, of his dreams, of his desires, of his insecurities. She's the
Did the director ever talk about?
I don't think he did.
Nah, right? He would look just to
I would
Because
hope
leave
he
it up
also-
to
didn't.
interpretation.
Also, like, what are the chances that after everything that just happened, she shows up at the end?
Right.
Like all
She
these.
shows up at the beginning.
No,
Yeah.
What the fuck is
no,
this
that makes
girl?
more sense.
Well, both. But what is this fucking girl doing at war to begin with? Makes no sense.
But the whole rape thing, is it just like a symbol that she's
It
not
is.
really?
It is.
It's
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
is
mean,
simple.
you look like she's beaten and torn.
But again,
innocence gone.
I think that the filmmaker puts it at the very beginning. What is this girl? If you see a Vietnam film, or whatever, you see a film about war, and there's a woman that's not present day, because now there's a lot of women soldiers that are very, very active. No, there is. That's the reality of our
the way
times.
you try
But
to-
before,
Sick cover up.
yeah.
yeah. Before, no, there wasn't. Not at least not in the U.S.
It's true.
So you see a girl at war in normal clothing, just fa la 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 in the forest. Stuff that makes no sense for her to be there to begin with.
I mean, that was my first thought for sure, but I was just like, I'll mess with it.
It's a very surrealist, a Akira Kurosawa moment. It's insane.
Also,
to
if you
take
look
that
at the
risk.
last comment that she makes before he goes back out to look for supplies with like his gun, it's weird how she's in the crowd of people and then she's holding a baby now,
Yeah.
a random child.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you could stay here. Like, what are you doing? Why are you going back out? And it's him trying to go and say like, no, I need to correct the mistake of surviving this survivor's remorse.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go and help these people. And it's crazy. It's crazy to see the tenacity of this kid where he just wants to go and keep fighting.
Yeah.
But going
Because
back-
now he's not pretending anymore. Now he is a soldier. Now he sees what it's all for. Now
That's why I love the
he
ending.
understands them.
Yeah.
He's not just like that bright-eyed kid that's going and waving at all the other soldiers like, oh, hello, nice to see you guys. Now he's like, oh no, now I know why everybody's marching. Now I know why
So
everybody's
that's how I took the ending, right? Where it's like, all right, now I've seen what the war is. Now I'm going with it.
Well,
But it's
but
not-
what I
it's-
think is very interesting is while we stuck on that point for a moment.
Yeah.
When he's trying to steal a horse, right? After his friend dies, after he sees somebody who he's got him pretty close to, he likes, he gets along with, and they're milking a cow in this very innocent moment of like
thirsty, man, yeah.
thirsty and probably hungry, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And then fucking dies because the machine gun just goes ham on the cow and on the dude and everything. By the way, quick sidebar: those were real bullets. I'm not kidding. They were real bullets. There was real ammunition.
The
the wide shots?
Yeah, exactly. Which shot?
All of it. Anytime you see bullets in this film, they're real.
But not the ones where they're shooting the cow, right?
Yes.
Holy shit.
They used
This is
a
85.
special.
I'm pretty sure they had.
Dude,
This Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used special film stock, a fast film stock. That's what some of it's graining. They shot natural light. This was all natural light. Every scene you see, all natural light. So the quick film stock is gonna capture the speed of the bullets.
Yeah, well,
So
we're
those
seeing them
rays
now
are not like Star Wars special effects.
No,
They're
no.
like
They look legit too because I've seen them in the wars in Ukraine.
and they're real.
They do look like that.
the actors. By the way, almost nobody in this film has an acting background.
Interesting
All
choice.
non-actors.
Oh.
I've seen a
And,
couple directors do that. It's
But
interesting.
yeah, just a sidebar about the bullets in that scene. But
Yeah.
what happens immediately after that scene is he's like, I'm fucking tough now. I have a hard skin. I'm going to cut this fucking cow. I'm going to do what I got to do.
Why did he stab him and then just leave?
More than hate, more than anything. Because he can't drag it. And it's dead. Like, he can't, like...
That's
Yeah.
the worst part. Think about it.
I feel like it gave him warmth while you stayed asleep or you kind of reju.
Shelter, right? Like protection.
But
and he's
again-
trying to revive it and then he just stabs it out of pissed off because he can't move it?
No,
Yeah.
yeah, because think about it. Like, his whole reason for going out is not to protect himself. It's not like so he could survive.
Yeah.
He's a soldier because he's trying to help people. He's like even when he tries to steal the horse, he's like, there's people that are starving,
Yeah.
and there's kids and all that kind of stuff, and tries to move the cow. He can't move it. It's this perfect piece of meat that could probably feed everybody and end
And he
some
can't-
hunger,
can't
and
cook.
he can't do anything.
But
But-
then
but-
he just stabs it?
What out of like
Yeah.
frustration.
I don't know, that was kinda like-
my first interpretation of it too was he's like, if I can't take this whole fucking thing, I'm gonna cut a piece
That's
of it.
what I thought, too.
Yeah, I think that's valid.
But he just left it. He
Yeah,
was
well,
just-
he's just like couldn't, right? But
Yeah.
he sees the horse, and again at that point, it's like his not his maturity, but his attempt to be mature goes pew, right? And it's like, I'm a soldier. I know what I'm doing. I gotta continue to serve my country. Fuck you. Your one horse is not important to your hay. I'm taking this horse. It's this like,
Yeah, I did
I'm
see that
grown.
shit.
I got
did
this.
see
I
that
got this shit.
I felt the shift too.
And even when his gun breaks, and look what they did. Look what they did. You know, like it's that. But then he goes all the way to the church scene, and he's this scared kid rolled up in a ball. And even after, dude, oh my gosh, man, the scene where they're taking the picture with the gun against his head is so. That scene alone is such a commentary on war.
Accepting your fate.
You know, like my grandpa, when he went to Vietnam, man, he would send my grandma pictures of dead Vietnamese soldiers. I'm not even kidding. Like she has them. She'd show them to me, and I'm like, well, what's the point of this?
Why?
Is it a trophy?
Yeah.
It's a trophy. Right? Here's the men I've killed. Check it out, sweetheart. Good luck. See you in 10 years or whatever.
But that's the way they would cope. You
Exactly.
Know? Hey.
But yeah, that's the way they have to accept this. That they're doing the right thing. But the fact that they just did it to freak him out, make him piss his pants, take the picture, and then, all right, you've served your purpose. I don't even need to kill you. Like, look at you.
Like with the grandma.
Yeah.
Oh, that
And the
was
only
fucked
thing
up.
he can do immediately after that is just fall over and play dead and roll over into a ball. He becomes a kid again. And, you know, the minute he sees the burning, he's not the tough shit that was stealing the horse anymore. He's a kid
Even
again.
when he
He's
like peeked out of the window where they said, "Oh, come and whoever needs to come out, just leave the kids." And he crawls out, and as he's crawling out, he looks at this army, German forces. There's nothing you could do.
Yeah,
even if he
you
did,
just-
yeah,
we just
even
start
if he
seeing
did
more
have
and
a
more.
gun, it's just a
Yeah.
matter of like, if they want to kick you, they'll kick you. If they want to shoot you, they'll
Accepting.
shoot you. That you can't do anything. So he's just there to sit and wait to see what happens. You know.
Yeah. Well, and then their idea, watch as we burn your people really quick. Like, you wanted to get out of there. Now you get to see them burn.
That's what it was?
Yeah.
That's
of
what it
course,
was.
You know?
I'm
And
still
the girl
taking
too,
it in.
right? But the girl, just to say, like, all right, we got one. Have fun, fellas. Like, yeah.
Those are heavy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9.4.
Austin, from what you got out of it. Okay.
Second time, or you've watched it a couple?
No, like I said, last time I watched it, I only got halfway. I got up to the scene where he's reunited with his village. That like the kind of midway point. Where
reunited with his
reunited.
They're not there either, by the way.
Yeah.
We know that for sure. They're not really there.
Where?
When they're cutting his hair in the forest.
They're not really there.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
That's his village. We've confirmed that they're dead. They're all dead. They killed that village.
So it's just him?
It's just him interpreting like my village. I'm doing this for my people. Got to go back out there. Got
Because
to
even like
continue to fight.
No. But I'm saying, like,
Even
are
like
we all on the same page here? Like,
that's why I'm saying I'm really leaning towards Carlos's interpretation because even like that old man who everybody's gathered around.
Too crisp.
Yeah, but also he's not like he's a nobody kind of.
Yeah.
Like at the very beginning of the film, he's just some old man telling the kids like, "Hey, get out of there! You should be messing with that stuff."
Yeah.
And then like later on, like he says, "Mayor of the fools," and everybody gathers around him in a circle. Nobody helps him. Just looks at this burnt body and says.
In uniform, by the way. In uniform.
And he's like, "Hey, kid, what are you doing?"
Told you not to dig.
Yeah.
Told you not to dig.
Yeah.
Don't dig.
And
yours is...
They're not there.
It's starting to...
But it's how he's coping with the war. By the way, just the kid... Poor bastard. He went through all this. They shot in chronological order. And they shot for 9 months. And the director thinking, I don't want to fuck this kid's life up. Can we hire a hypnotist? Just so that he can do what he's got to do as an actor and not remember any of this? I don't want to fuck him up. They hired a hypnotist. And he was susceptible to hypnotism. So he pretended that he was hypnotized just so that he can continue to film. And just like maintain a strong facade and was like, oh, I'm cool. Oh, don't worry, I'm good. Oh, thank you for no, I'm good. I don't remember what did we shoot today? Like just so that he could continue his job. But they were so worried about what this kid was gonna see and while filming that they were like, we don't want to fuck this kid's life up. And thankfully they didn't. He's fine and stuff. But
he was hypnotized.
Imagine. I mean, well, they thought.
No, I know.
Like,
No, and I mean every prop, everything they do. It's all meant to like really take you back to that era and that time.
Yeah.
And again, like we're in towards the tail end of 2024, and this is all referring back to the time of like 1939, early 1940s, and it's a different country and everywhere. But instantly, like you connect so much. I think, especially this whole. Generational thing, connecting that we've all been bright-eyed kids looking at the world, just trying to find our place and wanting to fit in. I love the lines in like Jojo Rabbit where it says like you're not tells Jojo like, oh, you're not a Nazi, you're just a boy looking for friends and you want to be part of a club. Like, that's all it is. And so, stuff like this, it's very reminiscent. It's a kid who just wants to go and have friends and want to, feel cool and feel tough. And at the very end, it's a person who's been torn apart to pieces and feels like all I want to do is just, like, see it be over. Like, I wish I could just shoot the one person who's causing all of this. And it just be over. Yeah, towards the end.
That's what you feel with that one shot of him just looking at what he's shooting, right?
Yeah.
But then he goes back in line.
Yeah, because
so he's not.
No. That's they're all searching for that. If you look at the older men and everybody, they're all searching for shooting that one guy who's going to end it all.
Yeah.
It's and that's what the war is.
Yeah, it's a superhero facade. It's it's like the Death Star. If I shoot directly into this vent, the Death Star will explode.
Yeah,
that's what soldiers think. If I kill that one sergeant on the opposing side, war's over. No, dude, it's not. It really isn't. Yeah. And that was the obsession with Hitler. If we capture and kill Hitler, war's over. Look what happened with Bin Laden.
We're still there.
We're still there. We're still there.
Yeah.
It's a facade, man. It's a mirage.
Yeah.
It's the mirage of war that if I can be the hero, I can be the Captain America to kill the one thing that's going to end this war.
That's the thing. They all, when the kid goes into the crowd and the film's coming to an end, we're no longer seeing where that kid is. Now he's just part of the soldiers, but because of the way he goes in and he blends into the crowd, every one of them you can tell is part of that mentality that they've all had their own experience. They've all had their own horrors of war.
Do you guys know the Robert Frost poem, "The Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening"?
No. But they've all experienced. I'm joking.
That's good, dude. That's good. But yeah, that's
I'm joking.
good. Interesting.
It's one of my favorite poems. But it talks about. Well, I'll let you guys see if you can interpret it. But there's snow in the woods, and I'm not sure that the filmmaker was trying to do this. But so the poem says. Can you zoom in a little bit? Poem says, "Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. We will not see. Oh, sorry. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep."
Oh, wow.
Most people will interpret this poem to talk about death.
Yeah.
And when you finally arrive to a destination that is new to you, the afterlife, and the horse represents life. Shouldn't we keep going? This isn't where we end, right? Like this doesn't feel familiar. And the guy being like, well, it sounds comfortable to stop here, but I have promises to keep. I want to continue my life. It's an interpretation
I like
of death.
that, yeah.
And Robert Frost is very, very much known for that. So when I see the ending of this film and I see the woods and I see the snow, it's to me, death is the snow, and the afterlife is this beautiful cottage where I can sleep at. And
Nice.
snow, in this, it's one snowflake will become a bed of snow, right? So then our character is one snowflake that we can see, that we can pick apart, but he just becomes part of the snow, becomes part of the crowd.
Yeah.
We can never see him again. We can never find him. We won't keep track of him. We won't know his name. We won't remember him. He's just part of the death now. He's part of the snow. He's part of the crowd.
Part of the millions that had the same. Yeah.
Fate. The same fate.
Fuck.
I don't know why the Robert Frost poem came to me immediately
It's
after
good.
seeing
No,
the
no, no.
snow
It
in the
definitely-
woods and this guy
I
disappearing.
also, real quickly, I'll just throw out my rating. I want to say,
Yeah. What is? No, you said.
Yeah.
did I say it?
No, I don't think you did.
I was thinking 9.7. No. Yeah. You haven't.
No, that was me.
No, I'll probably stick at 9.7. I was
9.7.
between
Yeah.
9.7 and 9.5, just for how much it does.
I'm a little ashamed, not of you, of us. Sorry, Francis, that we gave Apocalypse Now a higher rating. Like, because you were a 9.9 at Apocalypse Now.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, should we have gone that high with Apocalypse Now? Like, this film, for me, is just
a little
substantially
different.
more impactful. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I
it's
feel
saying,
like-
it's saying both are saying the exact same thing. By the way, they're both trying to say the exact same thing.
But
But
this
we're
one-
also, interestingly enough, getting the American perspective in Apocalypse Now, and this is the Russian perspective for
Russian.
World War II, where they lost heavily. The casualties.
Like, because
love
of
that. I love this
their,
different perspective.
and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you probably know the history better. But because of the way that the Americans kind of came in towards the end, while the Russians were fighting constantly, that kind of is what kickstarted like the Cold War and the battle between America and Russia. Is that
yep.
they felt like, hey, you never showed up once. We lost all these people, and now
then
you
you
just
showed up.
And now, yeah,
In the
towards
end.
the
Yeah,
end,
yeah.
it's easy.
It is part of it, but it's also one of those weird situations where, if I'm not mistaken, the group of Americans that infiltrated the German concentration camps to end World War II, they're called the Bulldogs or something like that. But again, they had this American Ride of the Valkyrie. We're gonna come to save the day. And you didn't do shit. You didn't do shit till the last year. Like, you really didn't. And then it is part of, like, not just Russia. There was a lot of people a lot of countries that were like, dude, you just came in for the camera moment, man. Like, you didn't help us out. You didn't send resources. You didn't send funds. You didn't send troops.
I didn't know this.
And they just came into like, all right, Germans, we're here to battle you. There's movies made about this where the Americans are the heroes, like Stalag 17. Billy Wilder, you've seen Stalag 17.
Oh, yeah.
Billy Wilder's Stalag 17.
Or,
It's
what's
this-
that one? Such a Beautiful Day.
Yeah.
haven't seen
And a lot of them are these tongue-in-cheek comedies. You know, there are these hero comedies like Steve McQueen. Gosh, how am I forgetting the name of the film? The most famous Steve McQueen film. Not bullet, but
I got the bullet.
gosh, it's a Vietnam. I mean, a World War II killing the Nazis film. Gosh, how am I forgetting this? Just like
the one with the White House.
No. It's the one where he's on this motorcycle and saves the fucking day and breaks out of a concentration camp.
It's the one that they referenced in Once Upon a Time, right?
Huh? The Great Escape. The Great Escape.
How can you not remember that?
I know. Yeah. The Great Escape. It's Steve McQueen's the hero on a motorcycle, kicking ass and killing Nazis. Like there's so many. There's so many films about this. There's so many films depicting the American hero in World War II. You know. And it's kind of sad, you know, because this is the American view.
Yeah.
Right, and you just saw the Russian view,
which I love.
And there's no Americans in this thing, by the way.
No, and the Russian view is kind of like, it's not pretty, it's not fun, but get up and get back to work. Yep. And if you keep working, we're gonna get past this.
Yeah.
Like that's why Russian cinema is so interesting. This whole idea of
You've been wanting to do Man with a movie camera.
The first one, and I'm glad
I feel like Russian cinema. It's because I think
it's very cut and dry. I mean, it's very
cut and dry, but also you find the value systems because where Americans value this whole hero archetype and a person who goes and learns lessons and all that.
Yeah.
To them, they don't have the hero; they have the working class.
I mean, one of their symbols, quite literally, is an arm and a hammer crossing, you know, like work.
A hammer and a sickle.
Yeah.
They are they highlight the working force as being the hero of society, you know?
Quick, like and subscribe.
Oh, yeah. Keep liking and subscribing.
And keep on with the story.
No, it is also very fascinating to show how powerful cinema and the media is, because any depiction that we see, think of Russians as like the Russian mob, or you know, Grand Theft Auto 5 or whatever, you know, like, or 4, is it 4? Grand Theft Auto 4, and you know, the typical Russian in our heads that loves vodka and whatever.
Bring the vodka and the women.
But you don't see the humanity the way you see it in this, and more so for a kind of a sub-country that doesn't even exist anymore. The Belarus is what I'm talking about. It's pretty fascinating I think this is one of the first Russian films where I don't see a caricature of a Russian or a Russian community or a Russian individual. In fact, you have a pretty hard time. I know I did. I don't know if you guys did. You have a pretty hard time trying to figure out which one's German and which one's Russian. Yeah. And a lot of it is on purpose because like there's a lot of Russian sympathizers who are interpreting for the Germans, and
that's why I was going to bring up the moment in the trees, because we're left from the previous scene where we're looking at him like, would you kill baby Hitler? And to me, it's that whole reflection of like, is fighting fire with fire the right choice? And then we go to this march in the trees and how they all blend together. And it's kind of like one of those things where, like, when you see a bunch of soldiers walking,
do you think they're doing the right thing?
Yeah. Well, who's right and who's wrong? They all look like soldiers at the end of the day. They all look like they're going into battle and they're going to be fighting. Yeah. And
it's very reminiscent of the opening scene of All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah.
The German perspective.
And in the grand scheme of things, they both think they're on the right side. You know, they both think that they're doing justice for society. That's why the one who's about to be killed from the German forces, like, he's like, "Oh, you pigs! Like, we're the ones who are trying to rid the world of this infection, and you're just getting upset at it." And then the other ones are like, "No, you're ridding us, and we have to get rid of you guys because you're the ones who are killing us." And it's weird but beautiful
depiction of conflict and how we deal with conflict. And again, this is why that moment in 2001: A Space Odyssey is important. How do I deal with conflict? How did the Neanderthals, our quote unquote ancestors, deal with conflict? Oh, they found a stick and they hit the guy with it and they killed the guy. That's how we deal with conflict. Yeah. There's no other. But even Kubrick was making a statement like, "This is how we deal with it, the way monkeys do." You guys cool with that? You know, but I mean, we're going as far as using technology to threaten the other party. We're, instead of exploring Jules Verne and saying, "I want to go to the moon because there's more out there to explore," we're like, Can you get there first, or can I get there first? And more so, can you weaponize this and use it against you? And then that's what Kubrick is trying to say. It's like, how far are we going to go? Like, how far are we going to go in war and conflict? And we're going to continue to deal with it the way the apes did? That's how we still deal with it. That's how we still deal with conflict today. And you would think we're a smarter civilization. We haven't changed. We continuously decide to deal with it for the past, how we've dealt with it for the past 200 million years, you know?
We've gotten better, but yeah.
Have we?
Yeah.
How?
You know, we're a little bit more civil than just getting a stick and hitting somebody.
We wear nicer clothes. That's the difference. I genuinely think that's what it is.
I see what you're saying.
We get medals now.
But you're kind of saying it like you don't see the light at the end, and I do.
What light? You're right, I don't.
I do.
What is it?
A better world.
For who?
For everybody, you know. It's better than it was back in the day when they just had clubs and, hey, you take my food?
Why? Because you can kill someone faster?
Let's not get into that. I'm just saying, I think that we're just being a little bit more civil than we were back in the 8 days.
In front of the cameras, maybe.
But anyway, yes.
Like, is it? Well, okay, that's cool. That's what Apocalypse Now is covering, is like classified. No one needs to know about this except us. Whatever we do behind the cameras is cool. Kill this motherfucker, murder him in cold blood. It's all good.
I see that,
and these guys, even the pictures that are being taken here, are presented as heroes. Hey, kid, get on in there on the picture and lie down, and we're going to put a cow that says this, and our leader's going to be sitting there. And you go back and look at history, and you think this, wow, very patriotic, very brave man who did this. And it's very posed. All of it is posed.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, man. So much to say. So much to say.
I love that you picked this film, Delo. I really, truly...
Absolutely. Terrific picture.
Yeah, I think it's
a Russian flick.
I definitely wanted to pick a film that I thought was going to do a different perspective because, I think war films can fall into one of two categories. One, they can be anti-war films, or two, they can be very propaganda heavy. And
patriotic, depending on whose side you're on. It's also important to note the next two films that we're doing are from an American perspective. And
patriotic.
No, not the next one, not Full Metal Jacket, but no, it's an anti-war film as well. But my point is, this is the only foreign picture that we picked this month. That Dalal picked this month. That
perfect. It was just heavy enough.
Yeah,
and very much offering that different perspective. So
I was really happy to explore it.
Yes. Yes.
I guess I can touch real quickly on the cinematography before we kind of close out everything.
Too. Roger Deakins, man. Want to talk about his influences?
That's the thing. One of the things that you'll always see or do whenever you're being a cinematographer or a filmmaker and you get annoyed at is whenever the actors look into the camera. Mm-hmm. And you're always told like, oh, well, that is it's a very challenging framing. You know, whenever you have an actor or somebody look straight into the camera.
Confrontational. It's
very confrontational because what it does is that it makes the audience kind of like when you're watching a movie and the actors are doing their thing. Let's say if it's like Iron Man, right? People are getting punched, people are flying across the screen, whatever happens. By them never looking at the camera, you feel like you're in a very safe bubble. Like a window is in front of you that it's happening to them. Everybody is experiencing it over there, but I'm on the safe thing. If I want to stand up and go to the restroom, I can. Yeah. If I want to get a little snack and then watch Iron Man like punch somebody, that's fine.
Even when they're being sweet, even when a film is trying to be endearing, and I saw her across the bar and she looked right at me, it's very much your move. Yeah. You're going to come up to me or you're going to talk to me. It's confrontational, even in its endearing situation. We used it in our film. And so this time we have one shot where she looks directly into camera to confront, to ask a question, and to accuse him of something. And it's very deliberate.
I love how you were going with it.
Very deliberate.
But once the actor looks into the camera, the audience is now...
You're in there. And the thing is with this movie... Because of the cinematography and because of how many moments from the very beginning, the very get-go, they want the actors and the people around to look directly into the camera. It's like, no, don't pretend that this is oh, it's happening to them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's somewhere else. No, you're in it. You're directly in it the entire time.
That combined, the looking directly into the camera combined with the Steadicam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Both those are meant to just say, let's do all the techniques we can to make sure people feel like I'm right there.
And Steadicam
You know?
was brand spanking new.
Yeah.
At the time, you know.
But it's doing something.
Yeah.
It's doing so much that, you know, you see other people try these techniques. I even like, I want to go back at some of the shots. It felt like even there was moments that the background was moving, but they stabilized it on the faces. And I don't know if that was,
there was one where the guy's shaking or whatever, and then they flipped it to the other, like it was a cut to like the forest, and the forest was shaking for like a half a second.
yeah.
I don't know why I like that.
But
I like when they use the split diopter shot, but as a pan.
yeah.
Hey, what did you guys think about the grandma? That's so fucked
Yeah,
up.
it's freaking fucked up for sure. What is it? Okay, is it safe to say that's the least fucked up thing about this whole film, and it's still pretty fucked up?
That's
Oh,
a
and then
perfect
they
way to
just
put
tell
it.
her like, go ahead and try to reproduce.
Yeah, try to reproduce make babies for us, Grandma. Then
she can't take care of herself.
And she smiles. She's not there. You know, she's probably has dementia, or you know, like she's
Yeah.
smiling. He looks at a battleground and is like, "Hey, yeah, I'm in on the joke, right?"
It's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree that like the cinematography is so key.
It's so.
I love that split diopter shot. That split diopter shot.
And
for me
again,
is fun.
Which is the diopter shot?
Anytime you could see the boy in focus and the background in focus.
Oh yeah, the one. Yeah.
Those were so interesting.
What did you think of that one? They kind of cut off his chin to show the back.
Oh, but it left you with his eyes, and that's the biggest thing they talk about in like editing too, is you know, knowing when to cut. Like I think that's what you brought up. Like he never blinks. When people blink, I think it takes you away from that moment. But by him always having these wide open eyes, and you
There's an actor thing to it. Like once you blink your eyes, you're
I love
not
that
you're
shot.
not
Watch, go
the
back
character
there.
anymore. You're just the actor now.
oh really?
Yeah, like
You're supposed to stay in it the full time.
yeah. If you're staying in it, the audience is looking that you're
Just
not
when
blinking.
when they push him up against the camera, I think it's a little higher. Oh, there's a split diopter shot. Go up. Right there. On the left. That's the split diopter shot right there that I thought was phenomenal. Phenomenal fucking use of a split diopter.
God, even the
And then they
makeup.
end up using camera movement, which you usually don't on a split diopter. You know, you stay there and let it linger as long as you need to, but they did this right after.
Oh, shit.
It was fucking amazing, man. Amazing camera work.
Again, it's something that you can really, as a cinematographer, every one of these shots is so heavy
it's
and
another
so
split diopter
powerful.
shot. The girl.
Oh yeah, the girl. Oh, that one was like just
Heavy. Super heavy.
Yeah, having her being this like loss of innocence with everything else that's going on. But every one of these shots, it's really doing something for the film.
Massively intentional.
Yeah. And you would think like, oh, it's showing this one little aspect, and it's like, no, it's
That
with
one,
the
that's the one I was
angles,
talking
with the
about.
lenses, with the choice of shots, which I think a lot of that comes down to the director. But the compositions really throw you into it. Even the subtle moments where very quickly we'll be at eye level with the kid, and then we'll shift to where we're looking down at the kid, or we're looking up at the soldiers, because you're always playing into this power struggle of like, is he
I caught
confident or is he being like kind of like chucked aside, you know?
And that angle is very crucial too.
It's incredible, yeah.
Which
That
one?
You told me to go back to
Oh, no. It was when they're literally like, they have him by the collar and they're just like pushing him up against the you know, in our case, the camera. It's super impactful. The look on
I
his
didn't notice
face,
that
man, was
they
just
did a
like,
lot of like one person, a lot of
Yeah,
signals.
they did, and
a lot of those. Look, like a lot.
I think
I didn't notice.
I think the frame was like a 4x3 for most of it.
Yeah, that's one of them. There's one from the actual film. This looks like a BTS picture. Go down. I'll tell you when to stop.
I think
It's the most impactful shot of the film for me. Period. It's right
Which part? Which part was it though?
where they basically have him and they're like holding him up. It's very reminiscent of that one.
That one.
No, on the right. On the right. That one. Like, tell me that isn't the look of a child, a
Yeah.
scared child. You know.
Damn, bro.
You know, that to me was, and this is a poster shot too, by the way.
And
yeah.
you can't just make that face, bro.
No.
You gotta go into it, man.
That's what I was saying at the very
gotta talk
beginning.
with your eyes
Like,
there, dude.
Yeah.
You gotta.
It's so phenomenal. We'll put it up in post if
Yeah,
we can,
definitely.
so you guys can see it. But that picture just is so impactful to me.
I agree. I agree.
And again, like we talked about just on the acting front, how he, a lot of it had to do with makeup and messing up his hair and stuff like that. But the aging, the amount of stress that this kid goes through, that by the end he looks completely different by the end of the picture. He's not this wide-eyed, blonde, pretty boy from the country. He's
because
this
if you did like
40-year-old man in a 14-year-old body.
If you got a picture of him from the beginning and him at the end, he goes from looking like an absolute boy to him, like you said, like a 40-year-old man
that's just some shit who's just smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And that's always that Instagram post that's always going around where that kid looks like a kid and then serving his 4-year sentence and he looks like a 50-year-old man that smokes cigarettes. And it's like, damn, man, that's what war does to you.
In order to get that look, was obviously some heavy makeup, but they also put something in his hair. I think it was tar or something that changed the color of his hair to gray. And unfortunately for the actor, that stayed that way for a few months after the production.
Wow.
But just to gray out his hair and change his appearance. And they did that so smoothly. Man, I haven't seen it done this well.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Great acting, man.
Yeah.
Not saying much, but man.
By the way, speaking of not saying much, very fascinating. This kid in this film kills nobody
Oh, he only fires the gun once.
for this Hitler.
Even though he's holding the gun the whole time and he cocks it
And
2 times.
protects it and, loads it and cleans it and
He doesn't
uses it
fire
as
it
a
one
tool.
time?
He only
fires it one
not
time.
one time, but one sequence.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
He shoots the Hitler
the
poster
Hitler
multiple
poster.
times.
Yeah, but that's the only time he ever fires the gun.
his
But
gun?
like, there's people that come at him, and he even like cocks it like he's gonna shoot at the people that are around him. But yeah,
But again, he uses it like he's supposed to, as a soldier does, right? He cleans it, he protects it. It's a visual representation
gets
of his
bandages.
chaotic.
I even caught myself like, why is he trying to bandage?
even when he get
But
bandages
that
for
makes sense.
like he's torn up, like
Yeah.
he needs.
Yep.
He needs medical attention. He goes and gets the gun because, and again,
That
this
is
goes back
so-
to a lot of Russian
Get up and go to
cinema.
war.
Yeah, it's like it's not about you. Like if we die, if we serve our country, like that happens. But you need to protect the vision, and the vision is that you're gonna go out and you're gonna fight for the good fight.
You'll protect the tool to finish your job.
Yeah.
That the gun is his tool.
Yeah.
And you use it a lot,
working
like when
force.
he's
Yeah,
like
it's
going through the
crazy.
mud and like searching for his mom, probably.
Oh my
And like also like using it as just a means to move on. And,
Kind of like a paddle.
and and again, he uses it for everything. He bandages it up. It's this representation of his patriotism. I think the gun is this symbol, right? But he never fucking uses it. And what strikes me the most is the line that the mom says. He's a kid. He's never hurt anybody. He'll never hurt a fly. He's a kid. He's a good boy. And true to form, he doesn't fucking kill anybody. He doesn't hurt anybody. He doesn't, it's very fascinating.
Yeah.
I think
Come
I'm
and
gonna
see.
go with your theory that that the girl probably wasn't there. It was just a manifestation of
Oh
His
yeah.
psyche.
is going mad. Yeah, not mad, right? But I mean, just trying to cope with war.
It's crazy, man.
Come and see, ladies and gentlemen. Elem Kilimov, you made a film that
Must watch once. It's up to you for the second time.
I think
I need to
if
watch it a
you're
few.
a cinephile or cinematographer, you're gonna want to come and see this a few times.
Yeah.
But
Director,
for
it's
most people, I think you're gonna like. It's like my mom says. She says, when I watch movies, I know how powerful they are, and I know that I'm going to be transported somewhere for a while. So she's like, so that's why I only watch movies that are like nice and make like me feel like I just got hugged.
I got
Not this
transported.
because
I got transported
you
for
really
sure.
are just taken somewhere else, and you're like, oh, there were so many times throughout the film, especially when he got shoved into that building. And people are screaming, and kids are crying, and you hear gunshots, and feeling like you're there. Especially,
I was
with-
grinding my teeth, dude. I found
Yeah.
myself like,
yeah, you're
God
just
damn.
like, oh, I want it to be over. Like, how
Yeah.
long?
I thought it was very fascinating.
it's powerful that a filmmaker could do that to you. Like,
the recruiting scene is also relatively experimental. I mean, they're in the countryside. I'm sure they're trying to get all the bodies they can, but like to the point where these guys were knocking on the window, and like he turns around and they're right there. Like, doesn't that feel how army recruiters are? You know, they're just like
Kind of,
constantly
yeah.
above your neck. Like, I get, hey, dude, kid, it'll be good for you.
Yeah,
You know,
everybody's doing
we're
it,
gonna
yeah.
get. He needs a crowd. Let's wait for the cows to come out. He needs a crowd. He needs people to see just how much of a patriot he is. I mean, it's really cool, man. It's
Yeah.
really fucking cool.
But God, it really did take you there. So for the 2 hours, what's the run time?
2 hours and 20 minutes. 22
Yeah, for
minutes.
2 hours and 20 minutes. God, I was in hell. I mean,
Yeah. So come and see.
Come and
see. Next week we'll be jumping into Mr. John Eric Astor's pick.
Full Metal
Jacket. Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket.
Haven't
I think
seen
it may have very well been.
Stanley Kubrick, maybe my third favorite director.
Yeah. I think this was probably the second Kubrick film I ever saw. And impacted the hell out of me, man. Especially.
You Can't Handle the Truth one?
No, that's a few good men. No, Full Metal Jacket. It's Vincent D'Onofrio's fucking amazing performance as again, true to form, a guy who goes mad in basic training and being bullied. And it's weird, man. You get more traumatized with how they prepare their soldiers than the actual war itself.
But that's the point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of the first act. Anyway, we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
So
Never
join
seen it.
us
That's the point,
for
yeah.
Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket.
Stanley Kubrick, man. You guys gotta come and watch it with us.
This is where I fell in love with Vincent D'Onofrio, man. Vincent D'Onofrio is a fucking amazing actor.
I saw him in that apartment one with this guy.
No, the New Tenants. The New Tenants, right?
Oh, the New Tenants, yeah. Oh, that's when I was like, yo, this guy can do.
Terrific. That
anything.
crying and breaking the glasses. And yeah, dude, Vincent
And it's one of
D'Onofrio is
those
a
short films
fucking
that
amazing, man.
ends weird as hell.
Yeah.
I was like,
I
whoa.
love that ending.
Me too.
I fucking love
It's
that
one of those that
ending.
showed me like, oh, you don't have to go with the regular.
Wow.
So yeah, stay tuned for that. And then the week after that, we'll be covering The Outpost.
And then we'll jump into Christmas.
Yeah, hugs all around.
Yes, 'cause,
Hugs
man, this
and
is getting
snuggle
heavy. We need a
bugs
little.
and-
I don't know that. Yeah, maybe It's a Wonderful Life. Just give you a hug at the end. At the end.
Christmas is
We'll hug it
about
out.
Christmas.
Yeah, no, but this is a phenomenal film, phenomenal addition to this podcast
Yeah, so-
and conversation. So
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
It's coming.
let us know what you want us to cover in January. Again, we'll be taking a lot of requests. We already have quite a big list, but we would love to get to your requests as soon as we can.
No
So send it in.
Iron Man, no Avengers.
Yeah.
Get out of here with that. Give us more like these: Russian, Italian, Japanese,
Yeah, absolutely.
Mexicanese,
Mexicanese.
whatever it is.
But absolutely, please send us in your recommendations. Let us know what you think about this film, and let us know what you think about war films as a whole.
Also,
Just
let me
leave
know
in
what
a
you think of my
comment.
legs.
Do we want more or less?
Honestly,
DM
I kind of
that.
want.
Don't post that.
I
Just
want
DM.
a little less, but if the
DM your
people,
thoughts.
it's in your hands now,
You know
gentle
that they
viewer.
sell this toner that just tones your legs.
These are the legs.
You don't even have to go to the sun.
That this country fought for. I'll have you know.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning in to the WatchTower Film Podcast. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Love you guys.
Want to feel sad somewhere else?
I know
Walk over there.
Yeah, but it's good though, man.